Jerome Powell just may have kicked off the ultimate part of this bull run in the crypto market. In fact, did officially the alt season start today? When we're looking at the data, looking at the total chart here, printing a massive W here, also with some slightly higher lows. W for when. I think that is the case because we're seeing some massive upsides throughout the crypto ecosystem, especially on the others chart, which is all those altcoins outside of the top 10. And we're seeing major gains, even within things like ETH. Look at this slicing through the golden pocket. We see Aerodrome, massive move here from this low all the way up there, almost 24% move in the matter of about a day and a half. Ondo also making moves. Dog on Bitcoin making nice moves to the upside. Avalanche making moves. The market is making moves, and Bitcoin is back above 116,000, near 117,000. We're going to be diving into this and more. And I got some crypto secrets from a $14 billion crypto founder. So we're going to make sure we drop those for you. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, ding the bell. I got more for you on all this here in just a moment. Let's get this going.
Pump. I've been preparing for this. Can't nobody tell me nothing. Bitcoin. Pump. Altcoins. Pump. I've been preparing for this. Can't nobody tell me nothing. Bitcoin. Pump. Altcoins. Pump. I've been preparing for this. Can't nobody tell me nothing. Bitcoin. Pump. Altcoins. Pump. I've been preparing for this. Can't nobody tell me nothing. SEC and its policies rely on whatever Gary thinks. Bitcoin to flight to quality. I heard that from Larry Fink. Every hour losing purchasing power on foolish out there. It's not our fault. Blame the cult. It's the political cowards when it comes to
The market is alive. The bull market was over only about a day and a half ago. And here we go with massive moves to the upside. Look at this incredible bounce here from Bitcoin, roughly right about where this multi-year trend line is. That big green line, which we've been covering on this channel, comes all the way back to, what do we see? 2021. Look at that, April of 2021. And then again at that double top here, which is a little bit higher in November of 2021, extrapolating that out into where we're at right now. Price has had a lot of trouble getting through this. And so this retest to the downside seems currently potentially to only be that, just a retest to wash people out. Of course, we were prepared in case the markets did have another swing to the downside, but I told you guys to watch this area for a potential move up. There's a caveat here though that we need to be excited about and somewhat cautious about, and that is this big box right here. What's in the box? What's in the box right now? What's in this box is, in the near term, potentially dashing all your hopes and dreams. It also could be the gateway to those next major moves to the upside. So we've got some major things that we have to pay attention to on the chart right now, because we're seeing monster bullish signals. On the others chart, we see this, sort of the patterns that have played out, but this move that was so scary. Let's go to the 4-hour chart. The move's so scary with the head and shoulders here. And what have we talked about day in and day out here on BitLab Academy? I don't know what just happened. Day in and day out here on BitLab Academy is a bearish setup with that tends to really trick people once you break those that trend line right here, only to be a trap and then to come up, wash out these bullish traders here, trapping them, coming back down and then launch. This is exactly, picture perfect, exactly what I've been talking about every single day, especially in the last 3 or 4 months, is the breakout of the move. That's it. Only to wash out, come back to other way. Okay, it's failed. Let's go short. Only to come back to equilibrium and then move. Same thing happens where you have, okay, we're up here. Price is so good. And then you get the breakdown. Oh, you're finding support on that level. But then the breakdown, it must be going, we got to exit everything, go leverage short, only to break out of this and go up. Oh, I guess it's going up, to come back and wash people out, trapping people in both directions before it finds equilibrium, and then the real move happens. This is exactly what we are seeing right now on these charts. We got the washout to the downside, the washout back to the upside, come back to equilibrium, and then mega bump right here, especially with what we just saw from Jerome Powell. Because did Jerome Powell just start the alt season today officially? Well, we've been seeing signs and signals of this for some time with the bleeding of the Bitcoin dominance. Looking at this right here, and I've had this marked out for months and months and months. This key trend line here, we had the fake out here, came back up. Then we had the fake out to the upside, came back to equilibrium, just like we just talked about. And I've had this, I have not adjusted this. The alt season kicks off. If this breaks, not this right here, not this. If this band here breaks with authority, with momentum, and what do we see? We see the price, the Bitcoin dominance fell down into our green box zone, came up, retraced, kind of like this, this yellow line that I have right here that I've had here 4 months. Not just 4 months, but for many months, the breakdown into this, about some sort of retrace and then the continuation. And this is exactly what we're seeing. So for those of you that have been tuned in, you should be overwhelmingly on the right side of this trade with Bitcoin, with your altcoins, with making sure that you're understanding all the chop that we've seen in this market has literally been there just to confuse the living hell out of as many people as possible, to trigger as much fear as possible, only to continue going to the upside. So when we're looking at Bitcoin and we see, basically this mega pump gateway, we kind of fought our way out of it, came back and have retested this. And I do think that if I had to guess, especially with Jerome Powell's comments today, that we will be getting clear of this 118 to 120,000 mark here in the near future. Now, we could have a slight rejection off at first, see where the bulls come back in, and then slice through. We might just slice all the way through this now that some of that uncertainty fear about the Jackson Hole Summit is cleared up. It's almost like, I don't want to say Jerome Powell bended the knee, but he definitely spoke about tariffs being potentially a lot more transitory versus entrenched in terms of causing more inflation. Also, just very much acknowledging what's going on in the labor market. There's a lot of dovishness in what he said today. So we need to pay attention to what's going on in the market because, guys, I think this is just one big mechanism to trigger as much fear as possible before leaving the majority behind. My question of you is, do you want to be somebody that's left behind, or do you want to be buying these dips that we've been talking about on these opportunity zones that have come into? So this is what I'm seeing. I see we got Atropine in here. We got Teddy. We got Green Day Profits, Fibonacci's, Theo Rodriguez, One House Productions, Nicole Minestator. Good to see you back. Andy D, Renegade Designers. We got so many people in here. Big love to each and every one of you. About 1,000 so far. We got a lot more. Got a $14 billion asset founder, crypto asset founder that's coming on here in a little while, about 25 minutes or so. We're going to be talking about some crypto secrets so you don't leave millions of dollars on the table with some silly errors or lack of planning. So we're going to be talking about that in a bit, but we got some charts to go through. We got some things that are highlighting some overwhelming bullishness in this market as we speak. So we need to make sure that we are prepared. If this is your first time here, I can guarantee you it's not going to be your last time. Welcome to the BitLab Academy stream. Shout out to our channel partners, BitcoinIRA.com and Arculus. Head over to getarculus.com to get the best crypto cold storage solution out there. Make sure you're self-custodying at least some of your crypto. You're not just holding it on exchange. So make sure you're checking that out. Getarculus.com. Now, when we're looking at the market, what are we seeing? Because it is absolutely monumentally phenomenal. And that is this. We are back at that $4 trillion market cap. We are down to about 3.7 something, 3.8. And we're back up above that $4 trillion market cap. And this is the best part. The fear and greed is still very neutral. The marks, the different signals, the on-chain data, the different charts that are analyzing and identifying potential tops we need to maybe rotate out. No, none of that stuff is signaling. We are signaling an incredible base to move up from here, especially considering after Jerome Powell's conversation talking points today in Jackson Hole, sort of softening some of that uncertainty about what the Fed's going to do. And at the same time, we have to remember, it doesn't matter what the Fed does. The dollar is in an impending self-immolation mode anyway. That's why we're in Bitcoin. Who gives a damn if they are cutting rates or not? Let's just keep stacking. Now we're going to see short-term swings on those certainty narratives and risk on and all, risk off and all that sort of stuff. But remember, Bitcoin is the ultimate risk off asset in terms of it gets you out of all the trash that you see in failed monetary policy, bad government decisions, all these things. But let's get into it because we got a bunch of stuff. Went full send for the B-Day today. Shout out, Troy. I'm happy to hear that. Happy birthday to you. POV Videography, how you doing? Shout out. Always working when live. Well, I'm glad you made it today. Quarter crawler, Leroy. We got the crew in the family. I am going to order some more of these hats, and I might be giving some out as some gifts to people that win contests and stuff here. Do me a favor today. It is a monumentally bullish day with some of the news that we just saw. And head over to my page right here at Kelly Kellam, Kelly, Kellam. Head over there, retweet this space, repost it out there, get people involved. We are live on YouTube. We are live on X. We are live on Rumble. If you are new here, welcome to the family. We have been breaking down these charts in these markets for the last many years. And also I've been in crypto for 10 years. So if you are new here, I'm here to break down the charts, to break down the signals, to break down the different data points that you can look at so that you can navigate the market rather than being navigated by the hope and the fear in the market. Price doesn't freaking matter on any asset you're trading. Once you realize that, you can start to dominate. Price is only a data point you're going to use in conjunction, in concert with other things like the strength, like the MACD, to really get an understanding of the momentum, the money flow, what's going on with Fibonacci's, what's going on with key levels we're looking at in contrast or along with what we're seeing in the landscape of the market, so we can forward project and make sure that we can catch moves as they're happening and as they're developing. That's where you make the most money in this market. So when we're understanding what's going on, and we realize that when we look at everything going on, remember, I posted this on June 11th or June 12th, and these are the targets I'm still looking at. I'm still looking way up in these zones. In fact, in some ways, I've adjusted some of my expectations. The likely target, I think $158,000 is overwhelmingly too low for the market cycle top this cycle. I'm looking more, and I've talked about this the last month or so, somewhere in here, kind of straddling these, somewhere around that 200,000, maybe up to $265,000 mark for this cycle. Now, does that mean this year or does that mean next year? We've got to take this day by day as the different ingredients are unfolding to give us an outline or an outlook of what to expect looking into the next many months. Because I do not believe we're going to have a 4-year cycle crash and go into a 1+ year bear market starting in October, November, like the 4-year cycle theorists suggest. I don't think it is possible in any sort of substantial way, considering where we're at with rate cuts about to start happening, with money printing that has to kick back on, with the reverse repo market, meaning the government being able to buy stuff out of the market, basically silent stealth QE to help bolster up the market. Those accounts are near empty. The Fed, the Treasury is now buying their own debt. Money printing's happening, guys. And what we're seeing going into next year, I think, is going to be nothing short of monumental. So let's look at some of those things. We talked about that. This is that massive, beautiful W pattern. This has since moved up quite a bit from here. This is the total. This is Bitcoin, Ethereum, and every crypto asset. This is a matrix of all of those things. Now, we are above this now. Let's actually see where we are at. Total minus USDC minus USDT. Yeah, we're up to 3.71. But Kelly, isn't the crypto market over 4 trillion? Yes. But do me a favor. When you look at a chart, stop asking ignorant questions because you're not looking at the data available to you. What do you see up here? The total minus USDT minus USDC. So you're looking at the total minus the 2 largest stablecoins. So if we look at this total with everything, including those stablecoins, then yeah, look, we're back. We're sitting here right about 3.95 trillion. And one of the reasons why there's a slight disparity between what you might see here, what you might see on CoinMarketCap, is because this is accounting for every meme coin, every crypto, I mean, up to 19, almost 20 million different coins. In fact, it will also look slightly different if you go to coingecko.com. You can see right here, this shows that where is it at? 4.08 trillion. This is also only accounting for 18,000 coins. So between these different data service providers that you're utilizing to get your information, one, it's important to look at several different ones to kind of figure out where that median is, where that number is, but also understanding that different things weigh things in different ways. That's also why when we're looking at charts, we look at the price action, we look at the RSI, we look at the money flow, or on the BitLab trading stack, kind of combining all those with the money flow, the momentum waves, the RSI, the stochastics, the VWAP, or you can look over here at Market Cipher and look at this similar look at these same things with Bollinger Bands and also the DBSI. And there's so many different ways you can pull data together to give yourself a healthy picture that you can find where there's these things that are corresponding and where things are conflicting. So when we're looking at this, the reason I set this show up this way, talking about these things, is because everybody is sitting here, can't figure out what the hell's going on. And they're looking at this with, for instance, they're looking at this with maybe moving averages and the price action, or maybe just a price action. Like, this is scary. This is exciting. This is scary. You are jacking yourself around in the ability to make smart decisions. If this is what you're looking at, 15-minute chart, get out here on the weekly. Look at the beautiful bull trend we're seeing here on the total. I mean, get out here on the 12-hour. This is still getting quite small. Get down to maybe the 4-hour, and you can see the moves within the moves. And then if you're trying to take those trading signals and really find those trigger points, you get down to the 1 hour, maybe the 15 minutes to lock in something. And if you're scalping, sure, scalp all day on the 15-minute. But if you're scalping, don't let your scalping charts affect what you're seeing on the macro. Does that make sense? Now, continuing on, we got some major things. We got the W printed for the win. But this is what we're seeing, guys. We have not been here before. This is what we're seeing on Q3 for Bitcoin in 2023. Oh, it's super bullish. It's about to break. Oh, it failed. We might as well sell everything. Oh, it's going. Oh, it failed. We might as well sell everything. Washing people out 1, 2, 3, 4 times. And then look at that massive, massive moon to the upside. What we see in 2024, where we had 7-month sideways price action of just, look at this, going all the way up to 74,000 and coming all the way back down to 48. Ultimately, this retested the previous range high, but what we're seeing here is massive oscillations, but it's going to go full parabolic, but this is all-time high before the halving. Oh, yeah, this must be a totally failed rally. People sold here. People sold here. Can you imagine how mad you would be at yourself for having potentially bought here and sold here, or bought somewhere along this way? And then what do you get? The magic happens. Here we are, Q3 again, broke out, came back, retested, tried to break out again, new highs, came back, retested. What would you think is next from here? I know what I'm doing. I know I've been stacking like an absolute madman mofo, waiting for this move to absolutely matriculate to the upside. We need to be patient here. And then we see the Bitcoin whales have scooped up 16,000 plus Bitcoin during the recent dip. This is where it's different between people that make money in these markets and those people that lose money and think the crypto market is a scam. No, you're getting scammed by your emotional actions in the market. While everybody, the retail side, the people that keep losing, they keep selling every time you get a small oscillation in price action. Excuse me. And at the same time, retail's getting scared out. You see the big cohorts, the big money players are stacking in during these dips. I've been trying to, for the last several years on this channel, make you realize that when you get that scary feeling tickling in your throat and burning on your balls, that is those moments that actually end up being the best buy opportunities. Realize everybody feels that. I'm aware of those feelings, but I take those feelings of fear that I used to have of fear, and I recognize the fear in the market, and I say, oh, that now flips a trigger in my brain that goes, this is probably a great time to start looking for really excellent buy opportunities. If you want to swim with the whales and profit like they do, then you need to have similar actions. Sell into the greed, buy into the fear. That is the ultimate secret trading any asset ever, especially an asset like this that's completely reshaping the way the entire global financial system is going to be operating. Everything is migrating to Bitcoin, and the tokenization of digital assets. Now, whether that's speculative digital assets that you could trade, or even digital assets like, remember, your driver's license, your housing deed, your marriage license, all these different, all those things are going to be digitized. That's the tokenization of an asset. Now, you're not going to trade those, but the rails that those are on will all be tradable, like Avalanche, like Chainlink, kind of securing all that, like Cardano and Solana. There's a lot of growth to be made in this market. Bitcoin is where you park and you get all you're you're turning profits into Bitcoin, but you can make a hell of a lot of money in altcoins if you do it smart and if you always keep Bitcoin on the top of your brain about how you rotate those profits of altcoins into Bitcoin. If your end all be all is just taking screenshots of your altcoins along the way, you're gonna be freaking broke. I'm telling you right here. And I'm not here to be on these markets. I'm not here to be on this content that I'm doing with people. I'm not doing it so I can look at myself and my camera screenshot back to myself. I'm not doing this to take screenshots of portfolios only like a video game to see big numbers only to go back to zero. We're here to make some money. And why? So we can change the lives of ourselves, our friends, our family, our ability to have free time that we spend how we choose, not because we need to go carry that bucket of water, not because we need to go scrub those dishes. No, I'm scrubbing dishes because I want to, because I'm at a family gathering that we're throwing because we got all this free time, because we made some damn money in Bitcoin and the altcoin market. So let's get into it. I got a couple more signals I want to share with you here, a couple more charts, and then we got our guest backstage. We're going to be bringing on $14 billion crypto asset founder. So we're going to be diving in with him in just a second, some secrets on how you can prevent yourself from making multi-million-dollar errors. And yes, that's even if you're starting with just $7,500. Many of you discount what planning does in terms of what your strategy is in the market now will affect in a multi-million-dollar way 5, 8, 10, 20, 30 years down the line. And we forget that because we want to be retail. We want to go 40x long and short on everything. And we wonder why these whales are making so much damn money. They're looking ahead and they're planning for it. So let's dive into that here in just a moment. But we got a couple more things that I want to show you. Guys, the Bitcoin top is in. It is nowhere near. It hadn't even started the run to discuss that there's a top in sight. Understand that. Every Bitcoin top was marked exactly by a red bar top. This red bar top here, this red bar top. And what I mean by top is, you see how there's bright red and then light red, bright red and light red? Just like on MACDs or any of these things with histograms, this shows that it's still expanding. This shows that it's starting to contract when the color shifts, just like on the green, bright green, and then it's contracting, light green. You see this? So this was the top, this was the top, this was the top, and I'm only looking at this histogram here. And this is the business cycle. This lends itself to liquidity and risk in markets and what we're looking at on the global M2 money supply, all these things. Okay, what do you notice? Okay, that was the top, that was the top, that was the top. What is missing from this chart? This is not even swung back around to start actually moving to the upside yet. We have so much room to grow in this market. The 4-year cycle, I will put my money on it. We do not have a 4-year cycle this cycle anymore. Considering looking back at the market. Think about this. I was on a space last night with Gary Cardone and Fred Krueger and a bunch of different really smart individuals. And when you consider what happened over the since 2008, there's been major broad economic things that have lent themselves, not even considering Bitcoin, that also, when you look at the outline of where Bitcoin had parabolic rises and where the market stopped and sold off, the parabolic rises were corresponding with things going on that had nothing to do with Bitcoin, blockchain, any of that stuff. Had to do with money printing, global liquidity, had to do with COVID, and then the resurgence of the markets opening after that. It had to do back in 2017 where we had a pretty big push and the ICO craze and all these things that were really bringing a lot of attention to the market and a lot of money in. We saw back in 2012, 2013, a resurgence out of the great financial crisis. So there's been all these other things, not to mention that the 4-year cycle also happens to be on the global liquidity cycle, on the presidential cycle of, the years that we have new presidents. It has to do with there's so much going on here. And yet people are hinging their entire portfolio navigation on I better sell in October or November, and I'm going to buy back when it's down 70%. The market's going to leave you behind. I'm sorry to tell you that. The market's going to leave you behind. But with that being said, we got, I just want to show you something here. The global, the liquidation heat maps here. I have not refreshed this yet. This was from yesterday, and I want you to notice something. We have these liquidity hot zones below us and liquidation hot zones above us. Now, what do you notice? The price action, and we've talked about this very regularly in these sort of uncertainty trap situations, and I mentioned this specifically yesterday, is that the price action comes up and scoops up some of the liquidity, and then it oscillates and goes down and scoops up the downside, and basically like a ping pong, boom, 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 until the direction is determined. And Powell opened that direction up with his softness and his dovishness on the market. So when we look at this and we refresh this, I want you to notice something. Oh, look at that. Came down, tapped, and then just sliced all the way through. Short squeeze, maybe, but also a complete shift in the certainty or uncertainty dynamic of the market. So we got some boost from a short squeeze, meaning the price came up to where people that were shorting were forced closed. A forced close of somebody shorting, a short meaning people betting the price is going to go down. A forced close means they have to buy. So it's a forced buy. So a short squeeze means you're getting a lot of forced buys here in the market. And the risk on, risk off narrative flipped in a matter of about 15 minutes during Powell's speech today. So you got the double whammy here. Now, does this mean the price action goes up only from here? Well, when we look at Bitcoin, I want you to notice something, and I've been highlighting this for some time now, and that is this box right here. This is where all this volume, rejection, chop, 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 rejection, rejection, support, rejection, support, rejection, support, rejection. And now we're not even into it yet. So this feels good in the immediate time right now. All systems go. But as it feels like that, be cautionary, because remember, one thing is true in every bull trend on any asset that's ever existed. Price doesn't do this. Price does this. It goes, boo. Oh, it's over. Back up. Chop sideways. Okay, it's going to be done. Retest previous range high. Moves out. There's all this noise that happens in this. So if that's the case, if that's what happens in every bull trend, well, we got a beautiful candle here that just very inefficient, just one big green candle, 4-hour candle. Okay, boom. It's 2 minutes left on this candle. Notice that. We want to see what happens in the zone, and look where it came up to, right to the 382 here on the fib. If this finds some, a little bit of bull flag, maybe a little consolidation here, wouldn't be the end of the world. If this moves down, it wouldn't be the end of the world. What would change this narrative is if this rejects and comes down and we make a new low. Then we have to go a little bit back for the drawing board for the next 3 or 4 days, not for the entire macro. This is a 4-hour chart. So we're all eyes on what happens on the subsequent next candle and the next candle and the next candle here. If this breaks out and we find some, basically do some work within this range that we've had outlined for months here, we have to pay attention to this zone. Because it's once we clear this, find support and go, that's when it's super all systems go. But there's some bullishness in the market. And it's not just the charts. It's also the fact that we've got, look at this, Bitcoin Treasury Company analysis. If you divide about how long they've been doing this and how much Bitcoin they've stacked, look at how much stacking is happening. Only 450 new Bitcoin are mined today. Look at this. This is insane. In addition to the fact that wallets, I saw on chain yesterday, wallets of holders that have been stacking and buying and holding, been in the Bitcoin market since 7 to 10 years ago. Those market participants alone are stacking more daily than the 450 new Bitcoin mined. That's not even including, in addition to all of these Bitcoin treasury companies stacking. Then we got, this is what the average everyday person's looking at. How to properly eat a hot dog. This is what kind of stuff that's on TV. And we're here with people like Chris Kline. We're here with Bitcoin IRA. We're here with the charts, with the data, with all this stuff, talking about how we can take a hold of our future and stop giving our future away to broken and corrupted bureaucrats that don't know how to spend a damn dollar. And the world's waking up to it because we see pension funds like this stacking in, whether it's to Bitcoin or Bitcoin proxies like Strategy. Remember Strategy? That's that company right here that's stacking massive Bitcoin. So if people are stacking Strategy, essentially they're stacking Bitcoin in a sort of convoluted way because they don't have the courage to go and actually buy Bitcoin, but it's still bullish. We're getting pension funds. We get a Alliance saying credible store of value. We're seeing, $208 billion New York State Common Retirement Fund, Bitcoin exposure. And then we also see trusted global, financial magnates, Goldman Sachs, talking about, trillions to flow into crypto. So with that being said, that was an intro to one of my favorite people in the space, my main man. Let me actually set him up as guest number one here. There we go. And that is Mr. Chris Kline. How you doing, good sir?
Hey Kelly, it's so good to see you, man. Man, your energy is, whew, I'm feeling it today. I'm excited. I'm pumped.
Well, I don't know if it's a green candle in your pocket or if your portfolio is just happy to see Powell take a knee, but the market is, we're seeing some near term flippening. But I'd love to get your take. I listened to an interview you did the other day. I was at the New York Stock Exchange, and talking about this market. Okay, you are the co-founder of a $14 billion, basically self-directed crypto trading fund for retirement, right? And while this
Yep.
may feel boring to people that are out there trying to trade 15-minute charts, I'm here to tell you it's not, because you saw the writing on the wall back in 2013, 2014, 2015. So looking at where we're at now, how are you looking at this with your understanding of the market? And also, you guys can see the data of the different size participants you have in your own portfolio management and all that kind of stuff with your clients. Where do you see this going in the next 3 to 5 years?
Oh man, I think that it's something I was thinking about. So it's funny. This morning, I knew I was going to be on Kelly's BitLab, and I was like, man, I got to have some good talking points. And I was thinking to myself before I got into the shower, I was like, oh, this is a market that is we're right there, we're right on the edge. Things have been good, and I was thinking about a talking point of like, don't fret about, for example, XRP being at 363 a week or two ago, and now it's down to under $2. These, remember when we were at under a dollar at some point very long, not so long ago. And then I get out of the shower and my phone has exploded, including you text messaging going, that escalated quickly. And so what the Fed has done here today is, it's kind of, we got to look at history a little bit. So we are at, last week, August 15th, 1971 so we were just at the 54th anniversary of leaving the gold standard. So we now have 54 years of being off the gold standard in filthy fiat. And the Fed has boxed themselves in over years. I've said this for almost over a decade. They have now put themselves in this situation where they are damned if they do, damned if they don't. And Powell literally said that today. He said, hey, if I lower rates, he didn't say it directly, but if you read between the lines, if he lowers rates, it's helping unemployment, right? But it's hurting inflation. This stubborn inflation is what he called it. So a policy shift. And we're now at a point where the Federal Reserve has a double-edged sword happening. And this is, and to my opinion, and this is why I love Bitcoin and I love all crypto and all digital assets, this is the worst piece. And this is basically centralization at its worst. So looking forward, likely, I mean, given the comments today, we probably will see a rate cut in the next couple of weeks. I think 15th is the meeting in September. And then beyond that, now it's off to the races. And right after I saw you in March, I was on Yahoo Finance stating that I think that Bitcoin could easily hit 180K this year. And that was when Bitcoin was at 76,000. So everybody thought I was crazy, including Yahoo. And look where we are today. I mean, I'm looking at my block clock. This morning it was 112. Now it's at 116 and running. I think I might be right about this by the end of this year.
You know what? I couldn't agree with you more. I was on a space last night with Gary Cardone and Eric Rice and Grant Cardone. I mean, the list of Fred Krueger. There was a lot of powerhouses on there, and the consensus was that 180 to 200-ish range, and that's if things just kind of persist as they are. If the market opens up, for instance, if everybody's still fretting about, what's the certainty or uncertainty or the decision regarding the strategic Bitcoin reserve, for instance, in the US, and the back and forth we saw from Bessent 2 weeks ago about we're not going to be buying. Oh, but no, but we are going to be accumulating. I'm still
They're
of the
buying.
opinion that
Let's be honest.
We're not going to know until after the U.S. buys. I don't think they're going to go out there and
Yep.
say we're buying, because the market's going to explode. So whether it's,
if you had $100 billion, Kelly, would you tell everybody you're about to buy Bitcoin?
No,
Exactly.
I think they're going to be
Exactly.
I don't know if it's using tariffs or what. They're going to be using what they've stated from the start, budget neutral ways to acquire and accumulate Bitcoin. In addition to the confiscations that happen and such, which I think will slow down a bit now that we have a much more favorable regulatory body and administration in the US. But in
Yes.
terms of the acquisitions, I don't see the US allowing itself to fall behind. We saw Eric Trump, I think it was Eric Trump 2 or 3 days ago, actually even mentioned that he's to some certainty thinks that there's a country out there that's bought about 200,000 Bitcoin already. So I think that's going to be the story of the next 2 or 3 years of major sovereign bodies announcing or making known that they have acquired X number of Bitcoin, whether it's 10,000,
Yep.
100,000, 500,000 Bitcoin. This
It's the
is the
race to reserve.
race. Yeah.
Yep. The race to reserve. Absolutely.
The race to reserve. So one of the things that I've also noticed is obviously a major shift from the Bitcoin focus. And part of that I think had to do with ETFs were there. So it felt very approved, like accepted by governments. And then a new administration that was involved, as well as corporate treasuries stacking Bitcoin. And so Bitcoin really dominated this last year and a half of market cycle for crypto. And everybody in the market is wondering, why haven't my alts moved yet? But now the tables are very clearly turning, where you're seeing the Genius Act, this Clarity Act, the market structure bill that's going to be passed soon. But then also we see people like Tom Lee, Bitmine, SharpLink. There's Ethereum treasury companies now that are making waves. And I don't see that stopping. I see more Ethereum treasury companies coming on, but I also see things like Chainlink, which is so overwhelmingly integrated into global finance, as well as RWAs, as well as data oracles, as well as bridging Web 2 and traditional finance into the digital age and connecting the current digital asset architecture. I don't see a scenario where we don't start seeing Chainlink corporate treasury reserve companies. Would you say that's accurate, or am I living in a pipe dream because I love Link?
You're not in a private dream. I love Link too, by the way. What a great run it had during the downturn. So it was actually the contrarian of the market space over the last week or so. And so we're in this space where you were just talking about how the 4-year cycle is dead, right? And we're going to see something that we've never seen before. And I agree with that 100%. I think also the notion of what the alt season looks like is also dead. I think that there is a new game that is about to take place in the alt season that is going to show some massive winners with the right utility and the right space doing the right things are going to be rewarded exponentially. And Link is one of those that I'm watching very closely. You're right. It's tied into all these things, RWAs, all these things. So I was in New York. You mentioned my New York City tour that I did. I did about like 7 or 8 interviews on a New York junket, and then I actually headed to the West Coast. I'm bi-coastal now, and so I headed to the West Coast, and I was sitting in boardrooms with a bunch of bankers, and all the bankers, all they wanted to talk about was 2 things: stablecoins, and how are they going to compete with them, and the second was, what's this RWA thing all about? And right there, I knew that we were at a place. I mean, you and I, Kelly, and the listeners here today, and I love your community. We have to remind ourselves sometimes we're in the 1, 2, maybe 3% part of the world that is forward thinking, ahead of the curve. Because I got to tell you, man, these are banks that have trillions of dollars of control, and they're too big to fail, and they're going to be able to go to regulators and ask for these things, and they're asking these questions. And I'm so excited to be a part of a community that's going to be a part of this revolution, honestly.
I just have to highlight it again now that you might have seen this before, but our focus, everybody that's watching right now, make sure if you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on Rumble, if you're watching on X, we've got 2,724 people on live with us right now. First off, I want to applaud you for beating 7.7 billion people across the globe to this. Even if you haven't bought yet, if you're tuned in, you are so far ahead of the curve in the middle of something that is absolutely reshaping the way in the entire global commerce networks works, as well as this idea of basically disintegrated trust that we've had on this mass confusion of this dispersion of social responsibility because there's so many people everywhere now. And now that's collapsing back in on itself because of blockchain. It's collapsing back because now we don't need to trust people. We can utilize blockchain. And at the same time this is going on, the majority of the people are out there on TV and
talking about hot dogs.
Yeah, this is what they're focused on. And then they tell you, hey, people are watching this, how to properly eat a hot dog on TV. And then you run into them on the street and they say, but Bitcoin, that's just a fad. That's just a Ponzi. That's printed out of nothing. It's like, I'm so over those conversations.
Rest assured, Kelly. I know I'm so tired of orange pilling people. I'm so tired of orange pilling people. I was talking about this, I think, with DZ on Discover a couple of weeks ago. It was like it's exhausting because there's this MO that it's just a fad. Let's think about this. 54 years ago, the Federal Reserve went off the gold standard. 14 years ago, Bitcoin was born, and it was pennies. And now we're talking about 116, 117. What we hit 124. It's not a fad. And what will happen, though, unfortunately for these folks, is that when it hits 130, 140, they're going to all of a sudden change their MO and they're going to be buying. And that's why my prediction is that last wave of newbies into the retail play is going to get us to the 180 to the 200 this year. And that's the reality of the situation, is that we have been beaten, battered, and forgotten, and also bastardized in a lot of ways from mainstream media. If you think about let's think about what Bitcoin's doing right now, what just happened with PAL. These are big moments for the average American. And my goal, my mission is to help Americans retire. These are huge moments for the average American. What happened this morning at Jackson Hole, and they're running stuff about how to eat a hot dog appropriately. Like, let's think about that. Let's unpack that a little bit. That means that you need to consider your source of education. And that's why we've got groups like you and at BitLab, and we got the Discover Crypto groups. And by the way, I love your audience. So if you haven't noticed, Chris has got a new background. I built a in-home studio here here in Scottsdale. And I'd love feedback for two reasons. One, what do you guys think? Because I always rewatch all my interviews, so I will be looking at the live comments. Also, I need a name for it. We got the BitLab, we've got Discover Crypto, we got the Blockchain Basement. I was thinking something around the Crypto Corner or something like that. So I would love some ideas from your audience that has been so grateful and so appreciative of my time with you over this last year.
Oh, we'll get that to you for sure. Everybody drop your thoughts in there on some ideas for the studio you got there. And it does look incredible. I do want to highlight something though, because you just said something that is pivotal, and it's something that repeats no matter how much education we give. It's that the majority of people start rushing into an asset, which is one, how you get the blow off top, or basically the top of the cycle before it breaks down. But two, they tend to do it at I don't want to say the worst times, but the most inopportune times. And we could see it on a chart like this from the Bitcoin Magazine Pro website here. On-chain data, we're just looking at short-term holder supply. This is how much is bought by basically people that are just buying in, selling out, basically retail. And what do we see? Massive spike into a top, massive spike into a top, massive spike, not as high, but still into a top. And then at the same time, if you come back over here, go to favorites, on my favorites at least, a long-term holder supply. Let's look at this. There's an inverse relationship. Where did it go? There we go. There's an inverse relationship. Long-term holder supply drops at the top, drops at these peak areas. Now, why is this? This chart, these two charts alone show you the difference between smart money and dumb money. Smart money, this means here, if this supply is increasing for long-term holder supply, this means that they're buying into the weakness of the market and they're taking profits into the strength of the market. This is where most of the people buy, and they get wrecked and they go, well, golly, that was a scam. I knew I shouldn't have got in. No, you need to stop being excited because you see it on every mainstream news media thing because we're at new all-time highs. Buy in the fear, buy in the fear, buy. Guys, and we have so much higher to go.
Blood in the streets, I'm buying, right? That's always been our policy, Kelly.
That's absolutely the truth. And I'd love to get into this as well, because as I mentioned in the title here and also on the thumbnail, there is millions at stake. Millions, not just people, but millions of dollars. And the caveat with that is people think it doesn't apply to them if they've got $3,000. They've only got $7,000. If whatever, this small amount, they don't embody the mindset of a millionaire to capture the millions that they could, even with $7,000. This market's going to
Yep.
persist to the upside. New integrations are coming, and yet everybody's so focused on the 1 month, 3 month, maybe even 1 week little short-term cycles that they don't realize that there's a real way, a regulated way, a legal way, and a powerful way to, with just several $1,000s, affect millions of dollars in difference in what that means in their future. I'd love for you to highlight a little bit about that, especially with what you guys have going on over at bitcoinira.com, because you do have over 80 cryptocurrencies, but IRAs are boring. Retirement funds are boring. Tell me why they're not.
Well, crypto IRAs are certainly not boring. And I saw the title of this show before I joined today. It was my trading secrets. I have only one secret: do it inside of an IRA. That's the only secret I have. Is as much as you can trade and accumulate funds inside of a qualified retirement plan will be the best advantage that you have going forward. Yesterday, I was on a Twitter space with the director of the Litecoin Foundation, and he's been trading his crypto inside of retirement plans alongside with us at Bitcoin IRA, his Litecoin, for years. And what he ran some numbers, and they were just like the ones you and I went through a couple of months ago, where I showed how $7,500 can affect your purchasing power parity when you make trades. Because we all of us are playing. None of us are pure maxis. Maybe they're out there, but myself, I of course I love Bitcoin. It's the OG. That's why we're Bitcoin IRA, and we've been around for over a decade. But there's so much power in Ethereum. It's almost up 10% right now. I think if you check the chart, you've got XRP, you've got Ondo, you've got Link, you've got all these major players. I know your biggest fan is Dog, and I'm still trying to get Dog up there. I sent that picture of Whiskey Boy talking about Dog. He would love to get some Dog. But putting it inside of a retirement plan gives you what the government gave us back in the 1970s. So actually in the 70s, the government took something from us and then gave something to us. They took away the gold standard, which meant that now politicians could print money at will without having to accumulate more gold, which is why we're in the situation we're in today, we talked about. But they also gave us something called the individual retirement account. They gave us the ability to save long-term and get tax advantage settings. That means with traditionals, we can lower our tax bills. With Roths, we can eliminate a big chunk of our tax bills. And in the middle, from now, I just turned 40 in March till whenever I start taking money out in my 70s, for the next 30 years, I have the ability to trade all day long without having to eat capital gains taxes, which could be anywhere from 15 upwards of 25% deltas in what you can rebuy in. You were talking about folks that had a win on something and then they rolled those funds over into a loser, right? That can happen. We've all been there. And now all of a sudden you don't even have the principal to pay your tax bills because you made that move outside of a retirement setting. So using these tools, if it's $7,500, I think we showed that your $7,500 is like a $1.5 million delta, then another $1.5 million delta on distribution. So you're talking about $3 million in savings off $7,500 just by using the tools that are available to you. Also, you may have things like an old 401k from a past employer. You might have an existing IRA and you don't know that these tools are available for you. Keep using that function of tax advantage, but use it for the assets that you love: crypto, Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Ondo. We have 80 coins and growing constantly.
Well, I mean, that's I think that's the key point. I think even with the name bitcoinira.com, there's a lot of people out there. They don't understand that you guys have over 80 different crypto chains, from Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Solana, Cardano, Sui, Dogecoin, Chainlink, Stellar, Hedera. I mean, you guys basically got the who's who of the coins that really matter. They're out there, and you can actively roll in your maximum amount contribution, and you can trade between Cardano and Solana and XRP and rotate that into Bitcoin if you want. Or do you have other investment vehicles out there as well outside of just specifically crypto? Is there gold? Is there other indexes?
Yep.
What other things are available? Because you can trade these things and not have to pay 20, 30, 40% tax on it, depending on where you're at in your tax bracket, saving yourself hundreds of thousands of dollars this year and millions down the line. I think it's silly that people don't take advantage of this.
We do have more assets. We obviously have gold and silver, precious metals. We've also, over the years, we've acquired some other companies that have helped us do alternative assets like real estate, land. We've got a guy that actually owns John Deere tractors out of Kentucky, and he leases them out to local farms, and he makes that as his passive income for his retirement. In fact, the egg that's next to me here, I think I need to build more eggs because these are the nest eggs of Bitcoin, Ethereum, Link, and all these other things. And beyond that, one of the things we announced, I think just over 45 days ago on part of our Summer of Freedom is we launched staking. So for those that want to hold right now, Ethereum, Solana, and Cardano, and we got DOT coming next, you can stake those assets, which I think is one of the most beautiful things in this ecosystem is that you can stake and you can build a better blockchain and get rewarded for it. We all know how staking works, right? Proof of stake. And to me, if you're able to do that, that's also a taxable event outside of a retirement. So if you are staking outside of a retirement, that's a yield that you're going to have to pay a capital gains tax on those yields. That's an interest tax. It's 1099R, 1099S. I can't remember which one it is. And if you're inside of a retirement, you can stake these assets for your long-term holdings and continue to get that tax advantage setting. Our goal is to be up to 15 different stakeable assets by the end of the year, and we're working on solutions for non-stakeable assets. So we're working on solutions, obviously, for Bitcoin. We're working on a solution for XRP. We're actually working on a solution for Litecoin as well, where long-term hodlers can put their assets to work to better the community and get rewarded for it. So yeah, it's never ending. Now, I think one thing here is, Kelly, if anybody's listening, we're not a one-size-fits-all retirement, right? That's everybody's retirement's different. You might be starting, you might be in the middle, you might be towards the end of your retirement. We have what I love to call, and this is my favorite part of my entire platform that we've built over the years, real crypto, real people. So you see the number there at the top of the screen. It's real. It's not fake. You can call 877, and I memorized it, 877-936-7175. And you can talk to a real person that's helped thousands of people with their crypto retirement strategy. Today, you could do it right now in about 90 seconds. You'll be on the phone with one of my experts that's been working with me for over a decade because we understand the analog piece of this. This is your retirement. This is your analog. The other thing is when you call them, remember to mention that you are a big fan of my boy Kelly. You are my favorite, by the way. And I'd love to have you on as a guest with whatever I build out here. I think
Let's
you'd be an
go.
amazing guest. And we have a special for all the BitLab folks and also just the Discover folks, because I know that you guys are we're all family together. So the Discover, the blockchain basement, the BitLab, we have the Summer of Freedom program running it's supposed to end on Labor Day, which is I think about a week or so from now. But if you are a BitLab or a Discover family member, just be sure to mention that. And we have an upwards of, I think it's $1,000 reward or return for you. For opening your account this year. So be sure to check that out. Talk to our experts. Everybody's got a different situation with their retirement. Some are starting, some are finishing, some are in the middle. That's what our goal is, just to help more Americans retire. And after today, I think Powell has made it very clear that the US dollar is in big trouble. And I think that the economy is we're going to have some contractions. We're going to have volatility. Like you said, this is a sideways chop. I saw your tweet the other day. It is going to be a sideways chop until rates get cut, and then it's off to the races. But there's a lot of money to be made even in sideways chops. You know that. I mean, you and I have both done those things.
Well, one of my favorite things about this, especially here on the BitLab Academy channel, for every one of you that's tuned in right now, one of my main sort of focuses on this channel is to help all of ourselves get out of our own way. We usually are our biggest reason that we are our biggest victim, whether it's profits or losses, but nobody wants to take accountability on the losses. And one of the tenets of being profitable and growing in anything, I don't care if it's playing guitar, bowling, being an athlete, or trading or investing, is you have to figure out where your strengths are and where your weaknesses are. I know that I love to trade. I know that I get sort of hyper conscious because I look at so much news that sometimes I move things too much. But one of the things that I have done, and I really do recommend this for every single one of you out there, Figure out what you're great at and acknowledge and be okay with what you suck at. And the reason I say that is, as boring as some of you may still think it is, because I'm seeing a lot of comments here, and I know that you guys do not think this is boring. You guys, one, love Chris Kline here from Bitcoin IRA, but also everything they've got going on here. This is a way to help you get out of your own way. If you're trading, actively trade, do it on the stuff that's beyond your maximum contribution here. But also, it kind of doesn't matter how much you mess up in that larger sort of everyday trading stuff you're doing outside of your retirement account. But if you also lock this down and trade, you're setting yourself up in a position to where you're always going to have this long-term plan solidified, and it sort of prevents you from making stupid moves. I mean, do yourself a favor and plan for the future, not just by buying Bitcoin, but also somewhat partitioning things off like they should be. So you're actively planning for your future. But I love it. I love what you guys are doing. And I always love having you on here, Chris. Do you have any closing thoughts here other than call 1-877-936-7175? Again, that's 877-936-7175, bitcoinira.com. Let them know Kelly Kellam sent you. They got up to, what'd you say, $1,000 bonus or sign up fee or benefits or something like that?
Yeah, $1,000 rewards, money back, basically cash back for you for signing up. And I would say this, I'm a big student. If you look at all of my my Netflix queues and my Prime queues, they're all historical things. And there's a new one that's on Netflix that I caught this past week, I think, or it came out this week, Titans of Wall Street. And I would highly recommend anybody that's in the financial space or just thinking about it. This is a great place to do your homework and do your research to really understand how all this happened and where we are today. I was just on the stock exchange. I'll be back in New York in October. I'll be on the floor of the stock exchange as well as NASDAQ. I just booked that as well. And it's something important to remember is like you put up Goldman Sachs and these other groups that are now looking at Bitcoin. Watch this show and it's really going to open your eyes as to how the whole game is played. I mean, back in right before 1929, there's a great episode on there called The Crash, and JP Morgan and his crew and the cohorts got together and they tried to pump modern day $3 billion into the market space like a week before the 29 crash. And it didn't work. And so this is why I love alternatives. This is why I love hedges. This is why I love being outside of the general system, because these are the moments in time where we can, instead of being, and at that time, I think it was Goldman that actually struggled the worst. We can, instead of being Goldman during that time, we could be John Kennedy's dad. What's his name? The old man that shorted everything right before the market crashed. We're not shorting things. We're just positioning ourselves in the right way, and we're using the right tools for it. So do your homework. If you got some time this weekend, take a look at it. It's a little hot here in Arizona, so I might watch the last episode, but I would recommend keep doing your homework. It's a very interesting piece, and it's on Netflix, which almost everybody's got Netflix nowadays. So.
Absolutely. Well, Chris, I always love having you on and seeing you. We'll get something scheduled. I'll come over and I'll jump into your little egg pod there, the Bitcoin egg pod. We got to come up with a better yeah. But great things, great thoughts on the market. And also, again, over everybody, if you want to find more information, remember, you just head over to bitcoinira.com. Phone numbers at the top, 1-877-936-7175. And, as you all know that tune in here, we're very particular about the partners that we bring on. For me, it's all about what has meaningful utility, meaningful tools, meaningful services, meaningful contributions to the space for the user. And that's why I've been very proud to be partners with you guys over at Bitcoin IRA. And you're just a hell of a guy as well. So with that being said, unless you have any other closing thoughts, I'm going to jump back over to some TA and hype people up on some of these green candles.
You go throw down that alpha. It's a green candle kind of day. And I'm glad you're home safe from Hawaii, by the way. What are the odds? You never take a vacation and then there's a tsunami alert. So I'm glad you're home safe.
There's a tsunami. Buddy. There was a tropical storm off. It was fine weather there, but we couldn't go out on any boats. Then I was sitting at the restaurant across the street from where the new Maui wildfire started. I was the first one to post about it on social media. And then they closed down the highways. We had to go to the airport to drop my cousin off. So we ended up having to go all the way around the north side of the island. But it actually ended up being beautiful because it's like driving through Jurassic Park on that north side.
Yes, exactly. That's actually where Jurassic Park, I think, or one of the other islands was Jurassic Park. So yeah, thank you, Kelly. It's such a pleasure.
Molokai, I believe.
It's such a pleasure to see you always, buddy. Feel free anytime. And thank you, Jerome Powell. Let's off to the races now, boys. Let's get it done.
You know what? I appreciate it. And Chris, we'll see you in the next one. I'll chat with you offline. And everybody, again, thank you so much, Chris, and the Bitcoin IRA team for coming on, sharing some thoughts and everything going on there. But Chris, I'll see you in the next one. We're going to dive in here with the boys, with the gals, with those crypto degens. We're getting, look at this candle, guys. And I've been talking about this specifically in regards to the price action faking out to the downside, faking out back again to the upside, coming back to equilibrium, and then pumping. This is exactly what's happening. Now, this is not, I mean, this is the others chart. So this is everything outside of the top 10. And this means that we see Ethereum, look at this, slicing through the golden pocket, making its way through the 786, as Army Piper would say, the platinum pocket, coming almost up to retest the previous all-time highs from all the way back. Where is this at? Let me zoom out here. The previous all-time high back here in November of 2021. We are on the cusp of greatness. We're on the edge of glory. That's right. And we see Link, massive. Look at this 3-day candle. Let's go down to the 4-hour. I mean, massive move here on Link. Look at this. Golly, 15% move in the last 8 hours. We see Aerodrome, massive move in the last 8 hours. Look at this, 4 to 6 hours, 21%. Ondo also back at a buck. It went just over. Look at this, just peeked its head over a buck and back down. I would be a little bit cautious here because some people are going to think this is over if we get a pullback. And the truth is, we tend to see rise, retrace, continuation. So if we do get a little softness here, whether it's a bull flag or an actual move down, I'd be looking for this zone right here for a move down territory for a bounce. That would be about 96 to 97 cents. If we lose that, then we have this beautiful W formation that we see right here, W for the win, potentially coming down somewhere in this 95 to 97 cent range. Again, that's if we get the pullback. We very well could form a bull flag or something here, but we want to look at all the opportunities. Dog, look at this. I mean, just oscillating between this into a sort of a broadening wedge here. Found support on this trend line that comes all the way back here into May. And we see, look at this, W formation, just like we saw on Ondo, pushing up, kind of tackling this zone right here. We have not yet broken but beyond these lows. So let's look for that. This is going to be a bit of a trouble zone for a moment, right at about the 003 mark. But if we can break free of this and sort of get a little bit of a consolidation work done in here, then we can talk about that next major move. But we're seeing the moves happen across the board. Avalanche, look at this, breakdown, complete fake out into a W reversal pattern and then launch. It's almost like a double bounce on a trampoline for those of you that did that when you were kids. You get the double bounce for higher moves to the higher side, to the upside. BNB also, look at this. Is this back? Yeah, it's back at all-time highs right now. Yeah, back at all-time highs. It just broke to a new all-time high, sitting just below it right now, just with these wicks. Let's pay attention to this. If we get a little sell-off this time, I'd like to see it hold this level because we do see the wicks here a couple times. If this does have a little bit of a move down, I'd like to see it hold above 870 for an immediate bullish near-term move into the weekend. Our Cardano coming back, beautiful W formation, but currently what we're seeing here is this, look at this descending level of resistance. It's basically right at it here. If we can clear this, then I'd be looking for this level up into the 97, 98 cent range, basically where these previous range tops were. And again, same thing, even though this is super bullish, I would be watching for some sort of move up, some sort of retest or flag situation, whether it's a breakdown or a bullish formation, something that pauses here at some moment and see how the bulls interact with that. Injective also, look at this massive move from the low side here. Hold on. I got sometimes it, there we go. Massive move up there. Look at that, 15%, a little bit down right now, 14.6%. But currently, this is just back at where this topped, where this rejected, where this bounced, where this bounced, where this rejected. So this is going to kind of be that zone. And remember, this green box, we've had this green box on here for quite some time, a lot of liquidity interest here. And this is exactly where we're at. Again, if we can clear this and find support above it, that's what we're looking to see. BitTensor Tau. You know, still, I mean, that's the daily. Let's get down to the 4-hour. Same thing. We have the, you know, the move down, sort of descending, broadening wedge right here. I can just see with my eyes, break out to the upside, but where's it at? Right at the range lows. So this feels good. Oh, now we're starting to get a little bit of a pop here. If we can break through this, find support on it, go, that's great. But we're starting to see some supreme bullishness in these markets. Near protocol also, boom, coming right back to where these lows are. Arbitrum, nice move up. It kind of broke out of this descending level of, you kind of have a couple different levels you can do this from, but it has broken out of this, looking good. We're watching here on Arbitrum above 56 cents. Next target would be 58 cents, and then a larger move to the upside if we can get that follow through. But guys, gals, friends, countrymen, the market's feeling good. Woke up, watch for movement this weekend, and watch for potential retrace on Sunday or Monday if we get bullish movement in through the weekend. If we're pushing up into Friday's close later today, I'm talking about for futures and stuff, and then we have a sell-off in the weekend, that actually would be optimal, because then we'll have a gap above us and we can resolve back to the upside Monday or Tuesday. So everybody, we are excited. Non-Leon, I did not mean to skip Sol. Sorry, there's so many different things. Let's actually look at Sol real quick. Okay, Sol, 3-day chart. What are we doing? We're still tackling this multi-year trend line back to 2021. Look at this. We broke above it, fake out up, fake out down, fake out back up, back, actually found support on it this time. So on this move, very exciting. But as it stands right now, we talked about this. There's too many darn lines on the chart. Let's clean it up. All right, W formation. Now we've broken beyond this high. So now we have a higher low, higher high on this most immediate range. Watch what happens here. If this does break down a little bit here, that would actually just form an inverse head and shoulders, as you can see right there. But things are setting up. We're still watching for that next target up in the 220 range. And then if we're able to clear that, I see this kind of, pushing up into here, clear this, find support back in this zone, a little chop, and then moon shot from there if all things continue in the bullish fashion that we are right now. But yeah, I love you guys. I appreciate you. I hope you all have an absolutely wonderful day. Remember, head over to, give them a call at least if you're even mildly interested. It does also help keep us going, because they might give you some information that you were unaware of, or make you realize that you're leaving money off the table there. So, or on the table. Head over to bitcoinira.com. Use call 1-877-936-7175. You see it right there, 1-877-936-7175. Let her know. Kelly Kellam from BitLab or Discover Crypto. You can say any of those things. Let them know we sent you. And the easiest way, any of you that are watching right now, we've got over 3,000 people here. Honestly, just being here, I appreciate you tuning in. You're helping push the world culture forward, learning and educating yourself on crypto and strategies here. The next best thing you can do is hit the like button and make sure you're following whatever platform you're watching this through, whether you're watching on YouTube, whether you're watching on Rumble, whether you're watching on X. Just make sure you're giving me a follow right here at Kelly Kellam. You can see right here, boom, that's the link. Boom, I'll share it in the live chat there. Make sure you give me a follow. Retweet the spaces out when you're watching. Subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, Rumble, X, wherever you're at. We love you. We appreciate you. I'm going to be on Discover Crypto today at 4 o'clock. I had to push it yesterday for some things came up, but 4 p.m. today, Discover Crypto. I'll be hosting, breaking down some chart signals, what we're looking at into the weekend, but I love you. Hit the like on the way out. Adios, muchachos. Adios, muchachos. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being green again. Ah, let's go. Adios.